Carlos Alcaraz has hit his first bump in the road even before the Australian Open kicks off, and let me tell you, it's shaping up to be a bit of a circus. According to his coach, Juan Carlos Ferrero, the kid's preseason has been tighter than a hipster's skinny jeans. As if the lack of time wasn't enough of a headache, now they've had to make some last-minute changes to the plan. Because why not, right? Life just loves throwing curveballs at this guy. Now, let's talk predictions. Mats Wilander, the ex-world #1, decided to drop a bombshell recently. He boldly claimed that by 2025, either Carlos Alcaraz or Jannik Sinner is going to snatch the coveted calendar Grand Slam. Yeah, you heard that right. Wilander didn't just tiptoe around the subject. He kicked the damn door open and shouted his hot take for everyone to hear. When asked about who would dominate the Grand Slams in 2025, he didn't blink while pointing at these two young guns, who have already put on quite the show in 2024. Meanwhile, Novak Djokovic, the seasoned king of Australia, has been meticulously plotting his comeback to reclaim the throne in Melbourne. Because, obviously, he can't resist stirring the pot. Djokovic, in full Terminator mode, just wrapped up his training stint in Thailand and is heading to Brisbane to start his season. Meanwhile, Alcaraz has been hustling back in Spain, trying to squeeze every ounce of prep time he can get before jetting off down under. His preseason kicked off a few weeks ago after 2 exhibition matches in the US, but surprise, surprise, things haven't gone according to plan. Alcaraz has been forced to shuffle his preparation at the Ferrero Tennis Academy, and now he's sparring with none other than Jordan's rising star, Abdullah Shelbayh. Yep, the world number 181 is stepping in as the wild card opponent. At just 21 years old, Shelbayh is definitely not a pushover, but let's be real, it wasn't exactly plan A. And don't even get me started on the ATP calendar. It's busier than a one-legged man in an ass-kicking contest. Ferrero's been vocal about it too, saying they're crunched for time because the previous season ended so damn late. We'd love more time to plan proper breaks and make sure Carlos is fresh for the big matches, Ferrero said in a recent interview. But guess what? That's not happening. So, we adapt and push through. It's what it is. Still, Ferrero insists that the brief off-season did Alcaraz a world of good. The kid came back hungry, probably for titles and maybe a cheeseburger or two, and those exhibition matches helped knock off the rust. The first week of training focused on fitness and some gear testing with Babolat and Nike, because, of course, you need the right kicks to dominate the court. By week 2, it was all about upping the ante. 3-hour sessions on the court and intense drills to build endurance. Now, as they head into the final stretch, they're adding match play to the mix, even if the original lineup of sparring partners had to be scrapped. Look, is this ideal? Hell no. But Alcaraz isn't one to let a little chaos derail him. The big question is whether these last-minute changes will come back to haunt him as he chases his first massive goal of 2024, conquering Melbourne. One thing's for sure, this kid's journey is already more unpredictable than a drunk uncle at a wedding, and we're all here for it. Let's see how he handles the heat.
The Australian Open, the one elusive Grand Slam that Carlos Alcaraz hasn't conquered yet. It's the shiny piece of the puzzle that's missing from his trophy collection, and let's be honest, it's been a bit of a pain in the ass for him. To date, he hasn't gotten past the quarterfinals on the courts down under. But here we are, on the brink of 2025, and the Spaniard is setting his sights on finally smashing through that barrier. If he pulls it off, he won't just close the circle, he plant himself firmly among the gods of tennis. And if you ask Mats Wilander, the legend himself, Alcaraz is destined for this greatness. Bold claim? Damn right it is. But with Alcaraz, you can't rule anything out. Let's face it, Carlos isn't your run-of-the-mill tennis prodigy. At just 21, this kid has already obliterated records that most players only dream about while they're practicing their serves in the backyard. As part of the first generation daring enough to step into the colossal shoes of the big three. Those 3 legends who turned tennis into a art. Federer, Nadal, Djokovic, you know the ones. And now, Alcaraz isn't just following their footsteps. Is out here carving his own bloody path. As 2025 rolls in, this guy's name is underlined, bold, and highlighted on the calendar as the player to watch. Why? Because he's not just talented, he's down as terrifying on the court. The stats speak for themselves. 16 titles already, including 4 Grand Slams. Roland Garros 2024, Wimbledon 2023 and 2024, and the US Open 2022 are already collecting dust in his trophy cabinet. Batter is the kicker. Is just one Grand Slam away from completing the career Grand Slam. Yep, that little gap on his resume? It's got Australian Open written all over it. If he wins it, he'll join a ridiculously elite club. We're talking only 8 male players in history have ever managed to win all 4 majors. Legends like Fred Perry, Don Bay, Rod Laver, and Roger Federer. Oh, and let's not forget Rafa Nadal and Novak Djokovic, the titans of his own era. Alcaraz knows damn well that breaking into that group will cement his legacy. But there is an extra layer to this story, he said. The youngest player to achieve this feat so far is Nadal, who did it at 24. But Carlos? If he nails Australia, he'll do it at 21. Let that sink in for a second. The kid could rewrite history while most of his peers are still figuring out how to pay their rent. Of course, it's not all sunshine and roses. The Australian Open has been his kryptonite so far. Last year, he was on fire, until the quarterfinals, where he hit a brick wall named Alexander Zverev. It was a tough loss, no doubt, but Alcaraz is walking into this year's tournament with more maturity, sharper focus, and a serious chip on his shoulder. He's learned from his mistakes, and is not here to play around. And is not the only one who believes in his potential. Plenty of legends are betting big on him, arguing that he's got the raw talent, the drive, and the charisma to dominate the sport like no one else. Whether or not he pulls it off in Australia remains to be seen, but one thing's for sure, this kid's trajectory is straight up meteoric. If anyone can take tennis into a whole new era, it's Carlos Alcaraz. Buckle up, folks. The ride is just getting started.
Carlos Alcaraz is the whole damn package. He's got the skills, the drive, and the swagger to dominate an era of tennis, but let's not kid ourselves. Talk is cheap. He's got to prove it on the court. That said, he's already got believers in his corner, and the latest legend to jump on the Alcaraz hype train is none other than Mats Wilander. This Swedish icon, a former world #1 with 7 Grand Slam titles to his name, knows a thing or two about greatness. Sure, Wilander never managed to grab all 4 slams himself. Wimbledon always stayed out of reach, but he's convinced Alcaraz can go where he couldn't. In his Eurosport show, Wilander wasn't shy about laying down a bold prediction during the holiday season. My guess, and it's a hell of a bold one, is that Carlos Alcaraz wins all 4 Grand Slams in 2025, he said, probably sipping on a Christmas eggnog. He even threw Jannik Sinner's name into the mix, acknowledging that the Italian also has a shot. But the Swede doubled down, claiming Alcaraz is about to deliver his best tennis ever in Australia. No pressure, Carlitos. Speaking of Australia, Alcaraz is already knee-deep in training for the big event. The tournament kicks off on January 6th, and the final showdown goes down on the 26th. Alcaraz isn't just aiming to snag another title. He's dreaming of hoisting that trophy sky high in Melbourne, cementing himself as the youngest player to achieve a career Grand Slam. If he pulls it off, it'll be step 1 in turning Wilander's audacious prediction into reality. And let's be real, that'd shut up a lot of doubters. But Alcaraz isn't the only name shaking up the tennis world. Alongside him, Jannik Sinner has been giving the rest of the ATP a collective headache. Together, these two have dominated the 2024 season, splitting the 4 Grand Slam titles evenly. 2 for Carlos, 2 for Jannik. When these guys are at 100%, they're basically invincible. Hell, the only real competition they've had is each other. Their battles have been nothing short of epic, and this rivalry is shaping up to define tennis for years to come. Of course, not everyone's thrilled about the Alcaraz-Sinner show. Other players on the tour are desperate to close the gap, and one of them, Flavio Cobolli, is making some noise. Ranked 32nd in the world, the Italian underdog isn't afraid to speak his mind. My big goal is to reach the level where I can give these guys a real headache. I want to narrow the gap that Sinner and Alcaraz have put between themselves and the rest of us, Cobolli told UB Tennis. I admire them, I respect them, but I'd love nothing more than to mess up their plans. Cobolli's ambition is admirable, but let's be honest, the kid's got a mountain to climb. Alcaraz and Sinner are in a league of their own right now, and breaking their stranglehold on the game is going to take something extraordinary. Still, tennis thrives on rivalries and upsets, so who knows? Maybe Cobolli will throw a wrench into their domination. Or maybe he'll just be another name they steamroll on their way to even more glory. If you're into all this drama, you've come to the right place. Here at Tennis Extra, we're all about giving you the juiciest takes, in-depth analysis, exclusive interviews, and wall-to-wall coverage of everything tennis. Love the rivalries? Want to dive into the strategies? Obsessed with the players' journeys? Hit that subscribe button and join the best damn tennis community out there. Trust us, you don't want to miss a second of the action.